So if you are looking for space in the East Valley, maybe you just want a larger backyard, room to play for your kids, or maybe you're like planning on building a casita or something like that. Today we are actually talking about one of my favorite neighborhoods, Circle G. And there are several Circle G neighborhoods throughout the East Valley. You have one in Tempe, Queen Creek, Chandler, and then Gilbert itself, we have about 7 different communities. But the ones I'm talking about today, Circle G Ranches, these are going to be more on the north side of Gilbert. I often call this area like the OG part of Gilbert. And these neighborhoods, they don't have an HOA, but the great part about them is that it's very clean in these neighborhoods. There's some other parts of the East Valley where there aren't HOAs, and it's like you have a house that has like 10 cars parked in front of it and like the ice cold Christmas lights in July. I always joke about that. But these neighborhoods are actually really clean. They're custom built homes, really beautiful, and a lot of them, or all of them, are on larger lots, half acre to 2/3 an acre, and then there are a couple that are even on acre lots. Also, I am Courtney Strelzik. I'm a local agent here in the East Valley. I actually live in Gilbert, so I talk a lot about it. So if you are interested in larger lots or homes with bigger backyards here in Gilbert, I do talk about that quite a bit. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, you may never see me again. And just as a side note, there are some Circle G neighborhoods that actually do have HOAs, particularly a little further south in Gilbert. And these tend to be slightly more luxury-leaning neighborhoods, I would say. But the Circle G ranches we're talking about today, the best part about it is the location, in my humble opinion, and then the fact that they don't have an HOA. So if you want to build something like a casita or an RV garage, it's a lot easier. You don't have to jump through the hurdles of an HOA and going through the architectural design request. You still need to go through the city of Gilbert just to make sure your setbacks and everything are A-OK before you build those structures, but it's a lot less hoops, so it tends to be a little bit easier. So today we're going to talk about really 2 different areas of Circle G ranches. And the first part is more of that Lindsay, Guadalupe area, either side of Lindsay. I'll show you on a map here so you can see where it's oriented. But the location of this one is really nice because you're close to the 60s. So if you're having to commute to like Scottsdale or Phoenix or even Tempe, this is the area that's definitely going to be the easiest to get around. And the other great thing too is off the neighborhood, you actually have direct access to the canal trail. So if you want to go on a bike ride or running, you have direct access there. You're not far from downtown Gilbert. It's about 1.5 miles. And what you can do you can actually hop on to the canal trail, then take the power line trail. You can do this on your bike, you can walk it, and it will spit you out directly into downtown Gilbert. You're also very close to the Freestone Park, which is one of our best parks here in the north part of Gilbert. Huge park. They have like several playgrounds, a lot of sports fields. There's a skate park there, a lot of green spaces. If you have kids in sports, you're probably going to end up here at one point or another. And then if you go a little bit further southeast, that's a second section of Circle G ranches. Little bit further away from downtown Gilbert, but you're also still very close to Freestone Park, and you're also really close to the Riparian Preserve, which is a nature center, great walking trails and everything around there. These homes are on half acre to full acre lots, and with that, you do find more, if you are looking for like a casita or a big garage, these lots allow for that, so you are going to find more of those options in this area for sure. Now, I do know a huge reason people look for larger lots is because they have like horses or livestock, or they want flood irrigation. There is one section that allows for it, not all of them, but there are a couple houses here that do have horses, and it's zoned for livestock or horse privileges. And then as far as schools, you are in the Gilbert School District. So 2 great websites if you guys are wondering about just the school ratings here. It's niche.com is a great one, and then greatschools.org. I'll put the link below so you can go check those out as well. Definitely recommend that if you guys are considering this area, or if you're considering this area, just good to do your due diligence, particularly if you have kids. And while we're on the note of schools too, because of fair housing laws, we're limited as real estate agents to share our personal opinions on the schools, whether it's good or not. So if you have specific questions about a certain school. One Facebook group, East Valley Moms, is a really good one. There's a couple other Facebook groups as well in Gilbert, but I just invite you to go onto those groups and ask those questions, because people will be really, really transparent, and they'll share a lot of the good and the bad of the school districts here. Now, some of my favorite parts of this neighborhood is first, they're going to be custom built homes. And with that said, every home is going to look different from one another. One of kind of the downfalls of the Phoenix East Valley is that I always joke around and say builders basically copy and paste it over and over again of houses. You'll go into a neighborhood and it's like 5 different homes over and over again. This neighborhood, every home looks completely different. It's just set up different. The landscaping's different. So it definitely has a much different feel. And one of my favorite parts of this neighborhood too is that the homes were built, a lot of them were in the late 70s and throughout the 80s. So the landscaping here, the trees and everything, it's had time to grow. It's much more mature. So it just feels greener. It's a lot more shaded than other parts of the East Valley. And as far as home sizes, most of the homes are going to be between like 2,500 square feet to 4,000. There's been a couple homes in the past couple of years we've seen sell that are like much, much bigger, but for the most part, you're looking at that size of home. And as far as price, in the past year, we've seen homes go from about 1 million to 1.5 million. There was one house that went for 1.9, but it was a big boy. It was like, I think it was about 6,000 square feet. So it was a really, really large home. And just on the note about the price tag, something to keep in mind if you aren't from here in the Phoenix East Valley is, we don't have a lot of land. A lot of the homes are on smaller lots, particularly if people are coming from like the Midwest or the South, where they're accustomed to having bigger backyards. That's not really the nature of residential properties here in Gilbert. So when you do have a home that's on a larger lot, like these homes here in Circle G, it does get a little bit more expensive. However, if you are trying to stay under like that $1 million price point, there is a sister neighborhood called Circle G Meadows, which is directly next door. And these homes, it's another no HOA neighborhood that's like super clean and very well kept, beautiful neighborhood. There are some big lots in there. I've seen a couple that are like a half acre, not quite as large. And some of the houses aren't quite as big, but also a great neighborhood. And I actually made a video about this, so go ahead and check it out right here. Thank you so much for your time and have a fantastic day.